On today's show, how did Luka fight for a decisive Game 5 win for the Dallas Mavericks? And what is Miami doing in the offseason? What's the Celtics doing in the next round? We'll talk about all that and more in today's Locked On NBA. Let's go!
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You are Locked On to the NBA. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On NBA your first listen today, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day on any podcast platform, like the video on YouTube, comment anything below. Game off. Got to talk about Monopoly Go. This fast-paced game lets you team up with your friends for tournaments to unlock awesome prizes, like unique stickers for trading, things like that. Cool playing pieces and hilarious emojis to taunt your friends. So download Monopoly Go now for free on the Google Play or the App Store. Game on. And joining me, as always, host of the Locked On Bulls. Happy to talk about any other team. What you got for me, Pat the Designer?
Were the Heat bamboozled? Is Tyler Hero not the guy we thought he was? What bamboozling going on?
I mean, who did you think he was?
I mean, listen, I've thought he was the same guy for a while, but I think Heat fans got a splash of cold water in their face on what the ceiling may be on Tyler Hero for this whole thing.
I mean, we knew what we were getting going into this.
I'm not a Heat fan, so sure.
At least we'll talk about that. hey, I cover the Dallas Mavericks. I'm not either.
Here we go now. Hey,
2006, 2011, maybe.
What's Daniel Gafford doing?
We've got the Heat and the Celtics. Of course, we'll play Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including the Phoenix Suns just saying a lot, but not a lot. A lot, but not a lot. We'll talk about that and Count It Up. And then let's start here, Pat. The Dallas Mavericks get a Game 5 win. Neither game was super competitive in this, but one of them, the Celtics advanced, and they dominated in that, and they were playing against a team that didn't have Terry Rozier, didn't have Jimmy Butler, obviously didn't have Jaime
Jaquez.
7 weeks in a row. And in this one, there's no Kawhi Leonard. There's no Kawhi Leonard for the Clippers. But the Clippers have been playing better without Kawhi Leonard. His knee is not right. His knee is not great. Their offense has been better without him in the way that they can play free flowing. I've been saying that since game 2 of this series. And Luka he's been dealing with a lot of injury stuff. He's got a knee sprain, an actual knee sprain. He's been dealing with an illness that he's had for a week now, too, that's gone a little bit longer than he expected. He's congested, sinus, and all that. And so going into this game, I knew we were getting one of two things. We were getting either an incredible Luka flu game, where you get Dirk from the finals with the flu game, where you get obviously the Michael Jordan one, or we were getting the worst game of his life. I was like, we were either getting one of the two. And I think you got the first one. 35 points from Luka, 10 assists. He was 12 of 18 from 2-point range. He was hitting the mid-range early. He was finally getting the rim. We haven't seen that in this whole series. We saw Luka Doncic fight for this win, play some defense still. The stars of the Clippers just could not match anything that Luka was doing on the other end.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know what the heck Paul George and Zubac being the lead is supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, what happened to this Clipper team that is led by Paul George, but then also, right, you get James Harden coming out and dominating. And I'll say this, I got to give the Dallas Mavericks credit. And I saw this early in the game, and you kind of saw it continue. Taking away the paint, the way that they really did a good job of. Yeah, Zubac tried to get himself going in that first half, but in that second half, I thought Daniel Gafford stepped up in a big way.
Absolutely.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not saying don't take this out of context. I'm kind of cheering for y'all because Gafford was a bull, but not fully, right? Because I love Anthony Edwards. I think he's a phenomenal player, but
and he's the son of a great bull. So.
Hey, listen, we don't talk about Bruno. You know what I'm saying? But no,
he said 2001. He was out there.
My whole thing with this is when you have the impact defensively that you got from PJ Washington, a guy who shot 1 for 7 today, from Daniel Gafford, a guy who shot 2 for 4 today, and Derrick Jones Jr., who did have a pretty good offensive day, 5 for 7, but still being able to contribute as much defensively as he was. It's going to make things a heck of a lot easier when you then have Luka Doncic going off for 35 points. The offense seemed to be way too easy, which is why I'm looking at the Clippers very confused tonight, because at least if you're going to get the offense, your offense is going, let's get the defense kind of worked up. And Kyrie Irving, who basically didn't have to even do anything tonight, but he finishes this night a plus 35 on the night. To me, like when you see the combination, I said this about the Dallas Mavericks heading into the playoffs. The way that they've been able to guard the paint defensively has changed a lot of my perceptions of them. And those other guys who you just need one guy to go off for 12 or 15. Right. You saw that tonight. Luka has 35. DJJ ends up with 12. You get Derek Lively ends up with 12, and then you get Kyrie with another 14. That's enough. Now I'm looking at the Clippers, and I'm just going, what the heck are you guys doing defensively? Because you clearly couldn't get it going offensively. Let's lock in on one end, boys.
And Maxi Magnets with 15 points. He had 5 threes in this game too. Absolutely massive. But this is the new calculus for the Mavericks. Like, this is a brand new team. If you have not watched the Mavericks in the last 3 months, it's a very different team than the one you saw before. The one that you saw before is a team that would just live or die by the 3. And the Mavericks have been doing that for years. I mean, just years of episodes of Locked On Mavs of me just saying they've just got to hit more threes than the other team. And if they don't, and if the threes don't fall, and if Tim Hardaway Jr.'s threes don't fall, it's the end of the Mavericks in this particular game. This is a different team, completely different. We've seen them win a game in this series where they shot 26%. They shoot 36% from 3 in this game, and they destroy them. Like, they didn't even shoot that amazingly well. However, teams in the playoffs so far, and we'll talk about this with the Celtics too, teams in the playoffs that hit 14 threes or more in a game, 19-0. Hit 14 threes, and you'll win the game in this playoffs, apparently.
So are you telling me this is a math problem yet again, which the Clippers have out.
I was told there would be no math. Well, the Clippers only 2 wins in this series. They hit 18 threes.
Exactly.
They hit 18 threes in both, and then they hit 8 in one, 10 in another, and 9 in this game. That's it. That's the whole thing for the Clippers. The Clippers can win games in this series, and they have. They've won 2 games because they can bomb from 3. Their defense was doing things to the Mavericks that I just did not expect them to be able to do. Zubac has been very good in this series. He's been like their second most consistent player, I think. Paul George has had a 40-point game, and then he's had a 7-point game in this series. Just been all over the place. And one of the things going into the Game 5 specifically was that James Harden in Game 4, the Mavericks sold out on his threes. They did it too late. They had already hit 18, but the Mavs sold out on the threes late. And you probably saw the clips of Luka James Harden just torching him, driving right by him, getting right to a spot, pulling up for a floater. And he hit like 4 or 5 late in that game. Just over and over again, them going to that. At practice the next day, Jason Kidd someone asked Jason Kidd, my friend Joey from Sports Illustrated asked, are you going to basically stick with that same strategy of selling out for the 3 from Harden and just letting him go to the rim? And I was like, there's no way he's going to answer this question. And Jason Kidd goes, oh, yeah, we're going to keep doing that. It's like, we're going to keep doing that, and we're going to stick with it because the floater, Harden has shot like 20, 30% on that floater this year, and he shot better on his step backs. They did the same thing in this one. First 2 shots James Harden took in this game were floaters right at the rim, and he missed them this time. Changed the game completely to where they're not getting the easy shots that they were getting before. And then this Clippers team, we've seen them kind of fold up and not play and not give like a ton of like effort and heart in games where they're out of, and series where they're out of. They lost the 3-1 lead a couple years ago. Like, we've seen this team fold. We've seen James Harden fold in the playoffs. He fits right into that culture of them.
Oh yeah.
Ty Lue pulled the plug on this game with 7:30 left in the game.
Yeah.
Put Bones Highland, and PJ Tucker was already out there, but put Bones Highland and them out there.
By the way, PJ steps on the court for 2 minutes. Somebody's on the floor. Like, my God. Like, PJ Tucker literally stepped on the floor, and I swear there were Dallas Mavericks laying everywhere on the floor. I was like, what effect is he having?
I have a theory. Huge sneakerhead. He just wants to see everybody's shoes. He just wants everybody to stop. He gets on the floor, he looks at their shoes, gets a good look at them.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that theory. Let me ask you this, though. When you look at the opposite end of it, when you look at kind of what the Clippers did tonight, and I've said this multiple times. I said this when we talked about Anthony Edwards. I've said this when we the few times we've talked about Kobe White on this show, right? To me, your stars.
So love, bro.
Clap it up. To me, your stars cannot come out of a game of this magnitude with less than 15 shots. And I know Paul George coming close, 13. But what are we doing here? What's the game plan? What's the mindset?
Right.
Let's not get it twisted. Let's not act like what we saw on the other end. Yes, I love what we saw defensively from the Dallas Mavericks tonight, but who was the offense? There's no question about it. It was Luka. Like, we're not sitting here confused on, like, who's the guy that scored, I believe, 25 or what was it, 20 or 25 of his 35 points in the second half of this game. Like, there's no confusion on who's scoring on that side. Why are we confused on who needs to be taking shots here? We've been in this situation. We've watched this situation. We've seen Paul George, and that's who I'm talking about here, be successful in this situation where you literally go, all right, guys, it doesn't have to be everybody get out of the way, but let's make sure we're setting him up to go be successful. Tyronn Lue, good job doing your Darvin Ham impression tonight.
Full name and Darvin. Oh, my God.
Like, my God, what is this, an LA thing? Like, what are we surprised at? Why are we sitting here looking at a game fully finished? This is not a stat line of the half. This is a stat line of the game. He was 4 for 13. I understand he didn't have a great shooting night, but are we confused on who's the guy that can definitely get it going? Are we somehow befuddled by who could be the best player on the court with Kawhi Leonard out? Where are we going wrong with this Clippers team, and why, for the love of God, do we see this every year? Now I see why Darian's always sitting here almost flipping a table. I fully understand.
Shout out to Darian Vaziri, Locked On Clippers host. The way you said, are we confused of the one who needs to get it going? Sounded like an old basketball coach that sits down and is like, do you not know where you're supposed to go in this play? Have you not? Exasperated.
Have we not watched this every single, especially with Kawhi being out? Have we not seen this every year?
And they've played well. Paul George had an insane game in game 4, 40 points. He was hitting threes all over the place. He's just not aggressive in the moments where you want him to be. And in game 1, we were saying that about Luka and Kyrie, that they came out with the wrong kind of energy, and that they came out and didn't attack this game, whereas the Clippers stars did. And in this game, it was the complete opposite of that. Mavs take the series lead 3-2. It goes back to Dallas for game 6, massive, hopefully closeout game, hopefully for me, for the Mavericks. And coming up, let's get into
not
the
Celtics.
At
all on Locked On NBA here.
I want to let it ride. I'll let it ride, baby. That's my whole thing.
You want to do what? What's Daniel Gafford doing?
Go check out the clip I posted on at Nick Van Exit on Twitter.
Can we not play that on here?
I think we
said it on TNT.
It's a nice penetrating thrust to the middle of the...
No, it's not even that. Coming up, let's talk about what the Miami Heat do next. Let's talk about how the Boston Celtics got a closeout win against a quote-unquote basketball team.
Oh, God. What do you do?
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has all the tickets that you could want to go to a concert, go to a theater production. I went to Les Mis and I got my tickets on Game Time. I was on my way to the theater and I was like, I don't have tickets, but I know that Game Time's got me. I can go right to gametime.co. I can download the app and I can get my tickets, and they have last minute tickets as well. So that even like an hour into the event, let's say you want to go to a baseball game, say you want to go to a Rangers game, say you want to go to a Cubs game, say like someone invited you to a White Sox game. So you're like, all right, I guess I'll go to that. I guess I'll go to that. You can, even like a couple innings in, you can still get tickets on Game Time, and they'll be cheaper than anywhere else because you can get those last minute tickets. You know that they're lowest prices. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use that code LOCKEDONNBA to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA. Being in every day or listening every day, we have a daily Locked On show that covers your team. Check the link in the description to find a show that covers your team every day. All right, Pat, we're talking about playoffs. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs. The Clippers lose to the Mavericks, and the Heat lose to the Celtics and get eliminated in this one. Let's start with the Boston Celtics. They get a dominating win in which, in a weird way, you just went off on Paul George for not taking enough shots. And Jayson Tatum takes 9 shots in this game on the complete opposite end of the spectrum of this one, where they just walk through this one and dominate. They didn't have Kristaps Porzingis in this game, but the Boston Celtics, man, they hit 16 shots. They're now one of those teams. If they hit 16 threes, if you hit 14 in these playoffs, apparently you win the game every time. The Boston Celtics, man, they're just on another level, and this Heat team had no shot.
I mean, listen, I'm just glad it wasn't the Bulls. Like, congratulations, Miami Heat. I appreciate you. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie, dog. I spent this entire series literally just going, somehow I feel like this would be worse if it was us. Like, I'm so glad I don't have to cover this. No, listen, Boston, when you get out to a 41-23 start, that says all you need. Yeah, it was absolutely done. And I'll say this, I've been a very big Boston critics at times while we've done Locked On NBA. I'll clap it up for Boston. I absolutely will.
No, why? They took care of business. That's it. That's all we've seen them do all year is take care of business.
Because last week when we did Locked On NBA, we were sitting here coming off of a Miami Heat win in which we were watching the second half of that game going, are they scared of the freaking Heat with Tyler Hero? Like, what's happening right now? Listen, they did some good things defensively, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But I wanted to see you go down to Miami and absolutely eviscerate them and close it out at home. They went down to Miami and they absolutely eviscerated that team. They took their soul and then said, we only are playing this last game because the league mandates that we have to beat you in 4.
If Jimmy Butler plays, how different is this series?
I don't know. I'll tell you that because we would have never thought they would have beaten Miami would have beaten them last year. The only reason we were like, maybe Miami can do this is because they had already taken out 2 teams on the way. Jimmy Butler is clearly the heart and soul of this team. Let's not get it twisted. If Jimmy Butler's in this series, there may be an energy that we don't know that embodies the rest of the team. And the one thing we do know is Jimmy Butler can score 50. Like, there's no question about that. The one thing that nobody on this team can do, we can go down the roster if we want to. Bam Adebayo, Caleb Barton, Tyler Hero, Nikola Jovic, Jaime Jaquez.
Second one.
Duncan Robinson. No one's scoring 50 on
podcaster.
Nobody's scoring nobody's scoring 50 on this team right now. But if Jimmy Butler's out there, there's an offensive ability that we've seen in the playoffs. So I'm not saying that the Miami Heat couldn't have beat them with Jimmy or made this more competitive with Jimmy, but without them, we saw a team that looked like it was struggling for one game, and it was like, what the heck is going on with Boston? And then they absolutely were like, no, we just had a bad game. We got you. Don't worry about this.
This Miami team, they got their one game.
Yeah.
When they hit a bunch of threes.
Don't let us get one.
Today, before the game, I went to Locked On Heat. Locked On Heat had an episode that said off-season talk on it before Game 5 had even played. And as the channel manager, I just go, I should be mad at this, but it actually shows really great team awareness. Where you're just like, hey, we're the experts. The season is over. We know this.
What are you going to do? Are you going to lie? You want him to lie to the 3 fans in Miami, one of which is on my show? Shout out
they've already left the building. You know they leave early. So.
Left the building. Did you see the play-in game? They didn't even make it. You know what I mean? I'm not buying it.
It's a hard arena to get to. It's near water.
I fully believe Pat Riley buys his fans. I think he pays for people to fill the stands.
The Sixers are doing that. The Sixers are doing it publicly like it's a service.
No, Philly fans are just smart. They're like, we're trying to get these ticket prices down. Yeah. You want to come see this game? We got to get these prices
we saw Abbott
down,
Elementary. You guys give out tickets.
Yeah, man. No, Miami is top 3 worst fans in the NBA for sure.
Whoa.
Yeah,
top 3? You want to name the other ones?
Toronto's worst by far. Toronto's dog water.
The Canadians.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They cheer for people to get hurt. So they will always.
That is a great point.
They will always be the worst fans in the NBA for all of time, and threatened a 10-year-old girl who.
Oh yeah, DeRozan's daughter. Oh man,
somehow made magical NBA players who do this for a living be able to all of a sudden miss all their free throws in that game. So let's threaten the 10-year-old girl. Yeah, that's the thing to do. Toronto's by far the worst.
Wow.
I'd say Miami is 2.
Utah's got to be in there somewhere because of all the run-ins they've had with Westbrook and other.
Yeah, I'd
fans
probably
that have gotten
say
racial and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd probably say Utah. Yeah, you know what? Now I'm gonna say Utah's 3.
They got a Karl Malone statue.
That's tough. Wow, that's crazy. No, I'd say Miami is 2. I'd say Utah's 3. I'm with you on that because and here's the sad part. The only reason I'm putting Utah at 3, as bad as they are for all the stuff that's happening there, is literally because at least they show up to the game.
They do show up.
Miami doesn't even show up to the game.
That's a great point. Lakers have got to be in there somewhere just because the fan base is so big that the toxicness of it is much larger than anyone else.
I can deal with toxic fan base because you're still going to show up. Toxicity
at least
in a fan base,
you know what it
you're
is.
You're going to support your team. Yeah, the Staples Center for the Lakers is never empty. Let these Clippers games keep going this way. I'll tell you what.
I will say it was when I went to game 1 and game 2, not empty. The afternoon game was empty to begin with. Not empty. Yeah. I do not think that every single person there knew a basketball game was happening at the same time. No.
Wait a minute. They're playing. What are they playing? What?
This is the one at the 3-point line, or
I thought this was soccer.
Weren't they talking about adding a 4? They're adding a 4 or something.
Wait a minute. I thought this was 3-on-3. No, this is not Ice Cube's league.
Where's Ice Cube? I was told there would be Ice Cube.
Today was a good day.
Coming up, Isn't he in Ninja Turtles now?
Whoa, hey, oh yeah, Ninja Turtles. Okay.
Oh, hey, whoa, coming up.
Count it up.
Coming up, what? What's going on? Count it up.
Nick doesn't get fired. Coming up. Today's episode is brought to you by Monopoly Go, a wholesome family game that people will play together with their families. You can also play with your friends on Monopoly Go. Check it out. You can team up with friends for time tournaments where you can work together and build up each other's boards. The more you win together, the more awesome prizes you unlock. There's so much more to get. You can get unique stickers. You can trade with friends and complete bigger albums for huge prizes. You can get hilarious emojis to taunt friends, smash their buildings, heist their vaults, do things like that as well. Check out Monopoly Go. It's new and exciting every day with constantly changing tournaments and challenges. A ton of stuff in there all the time. Unique mini games, digging for treasures, or check out all that kind of stuff. Everything new. Timed events help you win like massive multipliers for everything you win. Or rent frenzies. There's a word in here I don't know. Pachinko? What's a pachinko machine?
Do you know what that is? I do. I didn't look it up. Old thing, and it's only because my grandfather used to have it.
Okay, it's not like I first read it and I was like, they have a plinko machine, like
no. It's an old school, like, I'm trying to think. Remember, like you shoot the ball up and it just kind of goes around and bounces type of thing. That's like
a Clippers fan trying to describe basketball to me.
Oh wow, that shot's fired.
Always something fun to discover. Monopoly Go. Get off the bench and go download it free on Apple Play or the Google Play Store. All right, Pat. That time of the week where we talk about the most interesting, fun things in the NBA. I tried Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles.
Oh, it's like Pachinko's like a slot machine. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
really gotta stick that second end on that. Or the J, shall I say.
It's time to count it up.
Big chicken, baby.
Zion Williamson and porn star.
Take that for that. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up. Count it up.
Before we get to the Suns, Dave McMenamin tweeted this out about the Nuggets-Lakers matchup. Nuggets eliminated the Lakers. The Nuggets beat the Lakers on opening night. The Nuggets beat the Lakers on the night the franchise unveiled the Kobe Bryant statue with the misspelled names. The Nuggets beat the Lakers the night of LeBron James becoming the first player to reach 40,000 points. And the Nuggets beat the Lakers to end their season. My question is,
Count it up.
Who beat their opponent more this year? The Nuggets over the Lakers or Kendrick Lamar over Drake?
Oh. Are we really getting into the hip hop aspect of it? Listen, I think that that's tough. Once again, I gotta give the edge to the Nuggets, but Kendrick is a close second. I thought that he came with some phenomenal wordplay. I thought he put a lot of things on the table.
Find out where you get your abs from. That line
Yeah,
sent me on that line
listen,
sent me on that one.
He said a lot of similar stuff to what Rick Ross said, but I think we take it a lot more seriously when Kendrick says it over Ross. I don't know why. Ross came
because
with
Kendrick has a Pulitzer Prize. It's been validated by both parties.
Give me Kendrick over or give me Jokic over the Lakers, but Kendrick over Drake close second.
Yeah, nobody beats the Lakers 11 times in a row.
The Jokic does.
They got the one win, but Jamal Murray closed them out in 2 ways.
Is a game winner kind of like getting a double loss though? Like you almost had hope and then lost. So like is it a new streak?
Right
anyway,
there. It's like how I think Locked On Lakers said that last season they lost and their combined losing like margin of defeat was like 24, and this year it was like 22. Is it better that we got a little better, or is it actually worse? We were like so
a little
much
worse. A little worse.
Closer. The Phoenix Suns had kind of their exit interviews, end of the year type things, and we got some bangers of some quotes here. James Jones, their GM, president of basketball operations, whatever, comes out and says, "A constant focus for us is to continue to figure out how to maximize Kevin Durant. No one has done it yet. I believe we'll be the first team to do it. My question is, what?"
My question is what? And I rebuttal your question with a huh?
The first team to maximize Kevin Durant, we haven't done it yet. He won 2 titles with the Warriors, where he went toe to toe with LeBron James and outplayed him. He won an MVP. Don't forget the real MVP. He was maximized with the Thunder. Was he not maximized there? He was a toe away from going to the finals, I guess, potentially with the Nets. I mean, he's been maximized before. What is he talking about? We're the first team to maximize him.
Could this, and this is just me throwing
good luck,
a string in the middle of the ocean to a life raft, basically,
invisible
right?
string.
Could he be saying that no team has found the ultimate success with Kevin Durant being the focal point, being the number one, being like, hey, there's no other options but you, even though there's multiple options on this team? I don't know.
You think James Jones is saying, listen, I know we have Devin Booker. He's trash. We've got Kevin Durant.
I don't know if he said trash, but like could next season be like, KD, it's your team now? Yeah, I mean, like that's the only thing I can think.
I mean, maybe. He's also
I don't know.
KD is also going to be 36 in September. I mean, it's not like, what are we maximizing? We're maximizing the end of his career now. We're maximizing him still being as good as he is right now, which he was amazing this year.
He's pretty good this season.
Maximize that, not maximize him as like the number one player. He shouldn't be the number one player on the team. It should be. It's the same with LeBron and the Lakers. It's like Anthony Davis should be the number one guy.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, Devin Booker should be the number one guy here. And yeah, this quote was just very strange to me.
I don't know. I tried to help him, man. I like James Jones.
Just didn't make any sense to me.
I tried.
Bradley Beal, before Game 4, said that, I'll be damned if I'm gonna get. I've never been swept in my life. I'll be damned if I get swept. He starts his exit interview saying, "I'll be damned," and just sat down and said, "I'll be damned." My question is,
Count it up.
Do you like the self-awareness, or is it just kind of sad?
No, I like the self-awareness. I'm fine with that. Listen,
you like it? You like a little self-deprecating?
What are we sitting here and saying that Bradley Beal is done?
Well,
right?
He was terrible. He was terrible in that sweep. He's making all this money, and he's holding the Suns back from winning games and winning anything.
Sounds like a Bradley Beal career. What has Bradley Beal accomplished in the NBA to this point, outside of being an absolutely amazing player? He's a great player. He
just scored 30.
He's a great player. He's just not a playoff winner. Like what are we surprised by? Like his years in Washington led you to believe that he was going to be the focal point of this team that put them over the edge. Is that what we're saying right now?
Okay, at least be good.
I don't know.
It's tough. I like the joke. I thought it was really funny, but it's tough when you come in and you're like, yeah, I'll be damned. And he was.
Listen, like I don't like he's been swept for the first time. Welcome to life with the Phoenix Suns, where every time you say something, it will come back to bite you. Remember, Chris Paul was addicted to the NBA Finals. He is what's he on now? 4 years sober now?
Oh my
God, Chris Paul, 4 years sober.
Remember, Devin Booker said, "I'll be honest. I don't see how teams are going to guard us."
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah, they
Remember
found a way.
Remember when Devin Booker said the Luka special, and then they immediately got destroyed in Game 7?
Guys in the West got to stop talking. I'm not gonna lie. All the guys that have
John
been
Morant
like,
said we're fine in the West.
you know what I mean? Like all the guys in the West that are like a little yappy, a little jawing at you. Yeah, they kind of end up not winning many games in the playoffs.
Speaking of not winning many games in the playoffs, the owner of this team, Matt Ishiba, had a banger of a quote from just the classic corporate CEO. I'm going to read it as if I am a CEO.
Oh, here we go.
We're in a great position, not a good position, a great position. If people don't like that the owner, the GM, and the CEO, and the coach, and the players are trying to win a championship every year, you're not going to like the Phoenix Suns. My question is, how much do you believe Matt Ishiba when he says, I think we're not in a good position, a great position?
I believe him none. And here's the
Zero.
reason why.
Zero.
I got a zero on that. And here's the reason why. You're talking about winning a championship. And as a Bulls fan, I am very self-aware of like championship success and how far we are away from that. You know what you got to do before you win a championship? Win a game. What the heck are you talking about, buddy?
There's the clip.
What are you talking about? We're in a great position. Win a game. Like, I'm not talking about a championship. I'm not talking about rings.
Not a
series, not titles. I'm talking about a game. The game that you spent a lot of money on. The game that Kevin Durant is showing up to every day trying to figure out why he's just standing in the corner. The game that Frank Vogel is just as confused as Darvin Ham. He's
supposed to be the franchise player.
He's supposed to be the franchise player. You talk about winning championships. I just want you to win a game. As once said by the great Jim Harden.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me?
What are we talking about?
Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Win a game.
What are we talking about?
We're talking about the finals. We're talking about championships.
Warring soundboards over here.
Hey, I tell you what, right now, Charles Barkley ain't walking through that door.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. Ish Wainwright ain't walking through that door.
Ish Wainwright ain't walking through that door. Chris Paul's not walking through that door. All of these guys lost, by the way.
Kevin Johnson ain't walking through that door.
Mari Stoudemire is not walking through that door. I mean,
Sean Marion's broke ass shot is not walking through that door.
Oh, why did shot it?
Love you, Tricks. No, love you, Tricks. No, champion, 2011 champion. Love you.
Nah. You can't go at my North Chicago brethren right here. Hold on, dog.
Raja Bell, the Kobe stopper, is not walking through that door.
Why do we know so many Suns plays?
They've been relevant for a while. Give them credit.
Shaquille O'Neal ain't walking through that door. That's another one. He was on there for a while. I don't know.
The big cactus.
The big cactus ain't walking through that door. What a great...
How long do you... Okay, wait. Honestly, how long do you think you and I could do?
We probably could do this for a while. I know a lot of Phoenix Suns players. I'm not going to lie to you.
Isaiah Thomas. He is in the door, but he's not walking through it.
Yusuf Nurkic ain't walking through. Oh, wait, he is in the door. Wait, what was Nurkic doing here?
Eric Bledsoe. He don't want to be here. He ain't walking through that door.
Oh, God. Oh, why do we know Steve Nash ain't walking through that door? How did we miss Steve Nash? We went to so many other players.
Won an MVP, couldn't score 20 points. He ain't walking through that door.
That's tough. Listen, I needed that to make myself feel better about being a Bulls fan. I've got six championships. I needed that moment. They've had so many teams that should have won at least one title.
Boris Diaw can't even fit through that.
Oh, Boris Diaw taking shots. My God, dog.
Leandro Barbosa, the Brazilian blur.
The Brazilian blur ain't walking through that door.
we gotta end this. We'll keep going.
Anthony Hardaway ain't walking through that door.
Go check out Locked On Bulls. Go check out Locked On Mavs as we continue through the playoffs, guys. Thanks for listening to Locked On NBA.
Bye. Oh God, that was so good. Why do we know so